tell the truth, or at least don't lie. And the reason for that is that that's a very good starting position to straighten out your life. It's really helpful to be careful about what you say and to not say things that you know are false. I mean, it's not a straightforward thing to do, and that doesn't mean you get to tell the truth as a weapon. That's not the truth. That's a partial truth masquerading as truth to use as a weapon. I mean, you have to be sophisticated about it. But it's very useful to discipline yourself not to use your language in a manipulative manner. It doesn't work. It's a very, very bad medium to long-term strategy. And your life will become much simpler in a good way, much less anxiety-provoking, and much more exciting and adventurous if you just say what you think. Or even more importantly, don't say things you know to be untrue. One suggestion I have for people is that they listen to what they say and feel how it makes them feel physically. And what you'll see if you start to pay attention is that some things you say make you feel like you're standing on firm ground, and other things that you say disconnect you and produce a feeling of disunity and weakness. And you might think, well, that's worth it because I'm manipulating the world in some particular way to get what I want and it'll probably work. It's like, it's not worth it. It won't work. It will kick back and you will be punished for it. So one of the things that I've learned as a clinical psychologist, which is actually quite a terrifying thing to learn, is that it's terrifying when I think of my own life. I've never seen anyone get away with anything, ever. Everything you do that you know to be wrong will absolutely come back and haunt you, and usually in a magnified way. And so it's very useful to know that and to be terrified enough of that so that you become careful with what you say. So telling the truth, that presupposes you know the truth. You can strive towards the truth. I don't think you can know it, but you can certainly know when you're about to say something that's patently untrue by your own definition, and you can certainly not do that. So, and that's an excellent place to start. It will, if you do that for a number of years, your life will change radically and positively. Classically speaking, the two highest virtues are truth and love, and it's difficult to put one of those ahead of the other. Love means something like hoping and striving for the best for things, despite the fact that they're inadequate and damaged and perverse and often malevolent. And that's part of, say, love your enemies, is, well, what do you want for your enemies? Well, you might say you want their defeat. Maybe you want their violent, painful defeat, but it's better to want their transformation. It's better in all regards to want that and to hope for that and to act towards them in a manner that might facilitate that. So, and that's part of that courageous attitude towards existence that would manifest itself in positive regard for living things. And it's hard to talk about those things, especially love, because the word has been weakened by misuse, which is why I offered the definition I offered. It's like, it's an attitude of courage to want the best for life, because life is very cruel and harsh, and it's easy to become turned against it and bitter. And there are reasons for that, but it's not helpful. It's wrong, despite the fact that there are reasons for it. Bitterness is of no utility. So even though, I've met many people who've had very, very hard lives, and to see them become bitter is not a surprise. But there's no utility whatsoever in it. All it does is make it worse. So grin and bear it, so to speak. And that's part of aiming upward. And it is an attitude of courage, a voluntary attitude of courage. And truth serves that goal best. So how could it be otherwise? You can think about, you have an option. You can either have reality on your side or against you. If you abide by the truth, then you have reality on your side. You have reality against you. It's like you think you're going to come out ahead in that dispute. Well, you only think that if you've developed a certain amount of arrogance, which is also another very dangerous thing. I can get away with it. It's like, no, you can't. You are so outmatched by reality that there's no contest. I think the only real natural resource, apart from air, is honesty. It's the basis for wealth. Because if two people treat each other honestly, they can take each other at their word and then they can cooperate. Otherwise, like if I can't trust you, God only knows what you're up to. You're so complicated that we can't do something simple and straightforward and directed together, because we're going to spend all of our time trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And this is partly why so much poverty in the world is actually generated by corruption, rather than an absolute lack of material. An absolute lack of material. Corruption is a force that produces poverty like nothing else. So, honesty, integrity, and then all the things that you can be gifted with: intelligence, hard work. It takes a lot of rare traits, generally speaking, to push you in the direction of success. It also depends on what you mean by success. So we could do this two ways. We could go after classical success. Yeah, well, I mean, often you need a set of gifts, right, that are given to you at birth to be spectacularly successful at something, say, like sports. Then discipline, that's extraordinarily useful. Intelligence, that's very useful. The marriage of those two, I mean, if you have two people who are equally intelligent and one works twice as hard as the other, then the one who works twice as hard is much more likely to be successful. Creativity is another useful attribute. Reciprocity, the ability to reciprocate, that's unbelievably useful. Almost all the people I know who are successful have very broad, well-functioning social networks. So even if they don't know how to do something, they know someone who knows how to do it. And they've maintained their relationships with those people, and they've done it with integrity. So they're trusted. So they have a network of trusted people around them who are highly competent. And so there's an ethical aspect to that, because you don't gather a group of highly useful people around you to trade with unless they trust you. And so honesty is a huge part of it. And I mean, I've seen people go into companies that were failing very dramatically. Competent people go in and with nothing other than their competence and their honesty turn the companies around completely. And that's very interesting to watch. And I've consulted in situations where that's been the case. Decide what better means for you. So you have to have a discussion with yourself as if you were someone you cared about. So now we decide you're taking care of yourself. 3 years down the road, you get to have what you want, but you have to figure out what it is. Okay, so do you want an intimate relationship? And if so, what kind of relationship? How are you going to structure it? What about your family? How are you going to get along with your siblings and your parents? Are you going to have kids? Is that going to be part of your life? What are you going to do for your career or your job? How are you going to educate yourself and keep your education updated? How are you going to resist the sort of temptations that take people down? How are you going to take care of yourself mentally and physically? What are you going to do with your time outside of work that's productive and engaging? Imagine you could optimize all that. Okay, so then you need a vision. Okay, what would my life be like if I had that? And what would it look like? Well, then you have to make the right sacrifices to get there. You need to make a strategy. And so you lay out that strategy and then start to pursue it and progress incrementally, right? Little better tomorrow than you were yesterday. And compare yourself to yourself, which is rule 4 in my book. That'll work. You'll be in way better shape very, very rapidly. So, but you can't just wait around for happiness to appear. I mean, unless you define it and pursue it. I mean, things don't happen. Good things tend not to happen randomly, right? Things fall apart randomly. So you need a vision. You need a plan for the future. And you don't want to make it rigid and tyrannical, and you have to do it in negotiation with yourself. But it's unbelievably effective.
Hello, 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 everybody. Agatha Atlholang here, aka a boss lady. Thank you very much for those of you who are here on the platform. You could have been anywhere tonight. Tomorrow is actually a holiday, but you're here with us today, and I am just so excited that you're here with us, and so much to learn. So much to learn tonight. My name is Agatha Atlholang, also known as Boss Lady, owner of Genuine Fitness. Genuine Fitness is basically a health and wellness company where we actually focus on two things. Three: the mind, the body, and the soul. So basically, what we are all about is wellness. We're all about improving your physical wellness, your mental wellness, and your emotional wellness. So Genuine Fitness exists to cater to your needs, to wellness. Under Genuine Fitness, we have what we call Ikage Motswana, Wellness in Motion Ikage Motswana, which is actually a personal development program, which is all about coaching and helping the individual to be the best version of themselves. So tonight we have a special guest coming through. We've invited an amazing lady by the name of Nonofang Lekau. Nonofang Lekau is actually a soul and money alchemist. She is a very, very interesting human being, and I would like to read her bio right now. I hope I'll be able to see what's written over here, and you can also read that on your part as well. And Nonofang Lekau is basically a soul and money alchemist dedicating to helping Africans heal their soul traumas and make unfamiliar money with ease using their divine gifts. Her divine mission is to activate abundance consciousness through money medicine work, which guides entrepreneurs, creatives, leaders into processing and healing their scarcity based money templates, create healthy financial boundaries, break through their financial upper limits, increase their income goal, make soul aligned investments, create value and transformation in businesses, and tap into inner wisdom. I like that. Inner wisdom of organic wealth creation. Nunofang is the host of Money Medicine Space, a platform that promotes soulful conversations around money, healing, and wealth creation for entrepreneurs, leaders, and creatives who make money on their own terms. Her work is greatly influenced by her academic background in finance and banking, financial analysis, financial planning, and training in African spirituality, cosmic wisdom, shadow work, healing, and codes of activations. Nunofang Legao offers money medicine working through one-on-one, once-off sessions and one-on-one 16-week private coaching sessions. This is why I'm so excited for everybody who's going to be here tonight, who's actually going to participate and actually hear what Nunofang has to say. Today, we're talking about navigating financial stress during a pandemic. Now, we all know that a lot has happened in our country, not only in our country, but worldwide. And with all the instability comes a lot of stress. Here to join us today, as I call her up, Nunofang Lekau, who's actually coming through to help us find the tools that we may use to help us in navigating the stresses that come with our finances in a pandemic and as inflation soars and skyrockets to the roof. Nunufan Legau, welcome, my darling.
Hello, oh my God. Hello, beautiful, beautiful Agatha. Yo, ma, you look so gorgeous. Hi, Kika Hamutsana. Thank you so much for this beautiful invitation. I'm so happy and excited to be here. Yeah,
I am excited to have you here. I'm just so excited to have you here. And we are going to be together for 2 days. Today is day number 1. Thursday is going to be day number 2. And just before we start, maybe just to get everybody knowing what's going to go on, we've got a couple of questions that I'll be leading Nunufang into, which she will be explaining to us. The first 1 hour, 30 minutes will be basically her sharing and us having a conversation about what it is that we can do in order to I'm wondering what that noise is. I'm wondering what that noise is. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Are we good? Are we okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So basically, day number 1 will be in the beginning, we're going to have the questions, and then you and I having a conversation. And then afterwards, we are going to open the floor to people to actually ask questions that they might want us to answer. Same thing is going to happen tomorrow, and it's just going to be so much fun. So without any further ado, I think the first question that I should be asking my darling, what is a soul and money alchemist?
Wait, see, I had a feeling that you were going to ask that. I get that a lot. First of all, just thank you for also this powerful introduction. Yo, you really introduced me well. So thank you for that. So soul and money alchemy basically is transformation. Yeah. Transformation from one state to the other. The soul. I don't know. Is it okay if I use both Setswana and English? Sure.
Please use Setswana le Sekgowa, bana ba Batswana hana. Do your thing, girl.
Yeah. All right. So for me, the soul, soul, I'm talking more. I truly believe that the soul is that core part of you that connects you to your divine truth, that connects you to your godliness, to God. And I always say that when you listen in, even back in the days, but used to say, you know, there's that aspect of needing to listen in, go within, especially, you know, during times like this where we're in a pandemic, like to listen in, to go in and say, what is my truth in the midst of all this, what feels like chaos, or what is my truth in my journey of life, right? So whenever someone comes to me, I always want them to connect with like your soul. What is your truth? What do you truly want? What is the way in which you want to create wealth and money? So that is where the aspect of money alchemy also comes in, to say that, you know, when you meet Nunufang, you will come at a certain state of money, and usually it feels like overwhelm. It feels like things are not going well. It feels like I have money issues. But by the time you and I complete our journey or our sessions of working together, you would have transformed yourself or found yourself in transformation, where you are now experiencing a different state, which is usually bliss, clarity, and deep love, deep self-worth, you know, and just deep connection to your core truth and to your divine self. So yeah, that's so.
Absolutely. Oh wow. I love that. I love the fact that uno ubua ka mowa wa wana, because a lot of us, I think, we don't seem to understand that it is what is inside of us that stops us from being the best version of ourselves. It's not really the external environment. And as you
Yes.
said, you know, go boela ko kganye ya semowa. So it's really awesome that you're talking about that, because a lot of us don't understand that we're actually energy, and our souls are really what determine gore re hella ha kae le gore di-destiny tsa rona di tsamaya yang. So I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. And I just love where this is going, because already you're saying to me that ke tshwanetse gore ke itemoge gore mowa wa me o ntse jang, and energy ya me e ntse jang, and ha energy ya me e sene sentle, dilo ka bontsi ga di a mberekela. A lot of things aren't gonna work out right. Nonofang, tonight we're going to be talking about navigating financial stress in this pandemic. We're going to be talking about what is financial stress, what is really happening to us as individuals. Some of us think there is no way out. Some of us think right now we are anxious. You know, people are wondering where is their next paycheck going to come. Some people have already been asked to leave their jobs. Some of them have already closed their businesses. And tonight, we're really going to unpack and have a conversation around how to manage yourself, self-mastery. The first question, I think, would be understanding financial stress. What are we talking about when we say financial stress?
Yes. Okay. If I may, I'd like to just give a little bit of background to say how we arrived here, right? And then I will go on to expand on my revelations around financial stress, right?
Absolutely.
So, Emma, so in my journey, I studied finance and banking. I did CFA level 1. I would say that I felt like I'm financially literate, right? And I was fortunate enough to now work in a bank where I felt like, you know what, I'm able to see the behind the scenes of what really is happening with our people and money. And also just, I think because I was working as a sales agent, I had so much interaction with people's bank accounts, the history of bank accounts, and interacting with people at that deep level with so much respect. I would say that I got to realize there is so much more of a story that is, or a narration, that there is so much narrative around people and the activities of that bank account, right? What the money experiences. I also got to was very fortunate to be doing financial planning for after working in a bank. I got to sit a lot of times one-on-one with people where we would be discussing the financial issues, the money issues. And most of the time it was about, okay, right now we're going to sit and I'm going to show you how to draw up a budget. We're going to come up with a debt management plan. All these things were effective, but something still felt like there is a lot more that is going on. I got to realize that in as much as we can have the financial literacy, we can have the technical aspect of things or the practicals, there is where our money experiences pull in like the mental issues, like your mindset. There's where also it brings in the aspect of the emotions, right? The aspect of your beliefs, what you are, or your programming around money. You'll find that a beautiful example would be that right now, someone could be here and they say, no, now I know money, I've read books, and I find myself being able to write my budget. But the pandemic is bringing up a lot of my issues, or I still feel like I'm overwhelmed, or I'm going through the most. Here's the thing: you might find that for someone else, for example, a budget template not being effective, especially in a time of pandemic. Maybe it's bringing up the issues are your thoughts aligned with, like, are they in agreement with your own budget or your own financial plan? What are the emotions that are triggered by going through this pandemic, right? And also maybe for you, even just being able to drop the budget is triggering because most of the time you associate a budget with like punishment or with restriction or feeling like it restricts me, and therefore it still feels like there's not so much of like efficiency in what I'm doing. Right now, this is just to highlight that our money issues, or when we speak about money, we're talking about a multi-layered issue. There is no one answer to this. There are different issues that come up, different emotions that come up, different thoughts that come up that we need to take into consideration. Now, when we speak about financial stress, we're basically talking about events that are triggering your financial security, your sense of safety around finance, hence leading you to feel stressed, leading you to worry, to feel anxious, and to sometimes have a lot of fears coming up around, what gets to happen for you and what is the next thing to be doing. So the pandemic, we call it a pandemic because what is currently happening, with prices going up, with things changing, you wake up the next day, transport fees has increased, fuel has increased. The pandemic is basically reflecting that we are experiencing something with our money, right? And it's a collective experience. It is not just you. The financial stress is felt at a collective level more than anything, which even makes it even more overwhelming or more multi-layered. Right. So I think I can
I think yeah. I would actually want to ask you a question there. You spoke about there's some issues, there's some situations that overwhelm us, that end up this financial stress. What are some of those examples that trigger the stress?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I think we can take it from here, Agatha. This is something that we need to understand. What is currently happening with the pandemic and our money, right? I believe that the pandemic is only magnifying the pre-existing issues of money. It's literally reflecting back everything that has been existing, but now it feels more magnified because of the collective experience. I'd like us to just
could I say Pang, can I just ask you a question there real quick? Are you saying gore ya repolla? Is that what you're saying?
Dintse di le teng, tse dingwe re ntse re di beetse hale, re sa batle go di attenda. But now it's bringing some of these issues to life, to our faces, to say that you can no longer run away from this. So I feel like it's magnifying a lot of issues. Maybe going deeper, we can now say that if right now, how can what is currently happening with our money? I like to always take people back to say, let's travel back in time. Let's go back to the foundation, to our childhood, to our upbringing, and what we witnessed with our caretakers, our parents, and money. I'd like for even our audience to engage in this. What are some of the things that you really remember, or some of the ways that you remember your family dealing with financial stress? And I'll say financial stress because right now we may be experiencing financial stress in the form of prices are increasing, things are changing. But I do believe that for a lot of us, especially people of color, with a background of scarcity, of lack, where often it was like we were doing what we can, making ends meet with money, or most of the time having to overwork or to be burnt out or to make sacrifices in order to be creating wealth or to create money. There is where each and every one of us witnessed money a certain way. So I like to always highlight for it. Right now, even if you're an adult and you are creating an income for yourself, whether it's through your business or you are currently employed, you didn't start interacting with money, in your business or at a workplace. Your interaction with money started a while back when you couldn't even speak, when you were just noticing, right? At the age of from the time you were born, especially around 7 years old now, where you started being able to comprehend what was being said to a certain level, but not really processing it. So I want to just ask and say that, what do you recall witnessing around how things were done in your household, in your family when it comes to money? What do you remember witnessing? Right? I know that. Yeah. Yeah. So as we're talking about this, I'll just share a little bit of my experience. That now what I witnessed was that my parents were working 8 to 5. So which means that we would basically, salary would come in month end, right? So we had one income stream or two income streams at some point because my mom and my dad, right? But mostly we knew there's a certain period. I may not have known what time of the month that is because I was young. But I know I remember witnessing that there are times when mom and dad are extremely happy, when we get to eat what we want, we get to laugh. The mood in the household is sort of like very fun, very happy. And within a few days or within a week, the mood has changed. And over time, even though I didn't have the words, I could associate that with money, right? Because I knew that mom buys us these things with money. But when these things are not there, when the shopping is not there, especially because there was so much shopping, it's like there is just this energy in the house where there's just so much sadness. I don't know if you can relate. Maybe you had a different experience.
I think it's quite interesting that you should say that because, I think every household has its own story and it has its own experiences in terms of money. There are situations where le mo lapeng hela wa bona hore mama le papa go monate gompieno, jiki somewhere after a couple of weeks, wow, manwa khatelinyana wa khadimolwa khatelinyana ga ye le kata ga bona gore fotoro ya hela. It's all sorts of
Exactly.
So you're a child, don't you know that money doesn't grow on trees? And then when I gonna anxiety, I know we I'm pretty sure everyone has a story.
Yes. And we laugh about these things now, but there was so much programming that was taking place there. And I think that as well also, some of us, without even realizing it, frustrated because you are realizing that, oh my God, money has a way of making my parents fight. Money has a way of shifting my parents' mood or that joy. It's like money is stealing that happiness. You also get to now, in witnessing, you start hearing the words that they say, right? The rich people, but whom? Some of the things that I recall were not always positive, It was about, I grew up knowing apparently, rich people are not happy. They're not happy. But they're not happy people. I grew up hearing that rich people get divorced a lot, that they are corrupt, that their kids are spoiled. And I remember for me, this one year, that kids are spoiled. I used to know that. I think for me, it programmed me to feel like, oh, now my discipline has something to do with the fact that I know struggle. You get what I mean? Where you bond with money struggle because you feel like it makes you a resilient and strong person and, a disciplined person. You get what I mean? So it was also a way of us coping with lack, us coping in an environment that was financially stressful, right?
Yeah. I think for me, I've got to be honest with you, Nonofang. It was a totally different experience in that we growing up, my mother worked in a bank. She was an assistant manager, and like I always share my story, Kere, I'm one of these kids who came up from privilege, and
Yeah.
it's not to say that my parents didn't have their own money challenges, but when I was relating, when we were growing up, like I would get anything that I wanted. But the funny
Yeah.
thing with me is that I had to earn it. I would get the latest Reeboks. Way back in the day, we were still go rwalwa di-excitement, go rwalwa dithakonyana, go rwalwa dionyana, go rwalwa dionyana. So it was quite interesting in that I had to really work hard. I really had to work hard to earn whatever it is that I had to earn. And mom was very clear. We didn't just get Dilo Mahala, but we would get the nice things. But I then realized that after primary school, when I went to government school, it was quite interesting how other children used to look at botshelo jwa rona. Like when I first went to a government school, ne ke tsena ko Stalekgotsi, mama would bring me chicken licky. And with the other kids, it was a little different. And I could see the way bana ba bangwe they would relate to me. And it made me feel like, okay, this the way they would look at me was quite, and they would make fun of me. And I then had to have a conversation with my mom. Mama, just meal rice. So because of their perception of I guess they probably saw it as nice food, having nice food or whatever it was. Chicken bacon. There's a way that they perceived me. And then maybe there as well, there's a way I perceived myself where I had to dumb myself down so that I could be like everybody else, So there's a perception that they had about soft life or whatever. So I could see the difference. Now for me, I've always been a giver because we've never lacked. I would be lying. No, fine, Kiri. I experienced poverty. I had this. It was never like that. But I got to appreciate Bana Baba. Like I always tell my story, Kiri. I was a kid when I the latest BMX. So how ka manaka o tsena to the equipment ya bo ditakana yana before wa go tsena go dijarateng. So mo go reelang gore I would use bicycle ya ka nna be ke tsamaya tshameka go godimo. So I was the rich little kid, So which I love to interact with bana who are less privileged because I got an appreciation ya gore ga re tshwane. Ebile ke tshwanetse gore ke appreciate se re nang le sone. So the experiences are very different, as you are saying, extremely different. And I like how you say that. And I think maybe that's going to lead us on into how we then as Bana, okay, looking at how we are growing up in these different spaces, the types of beliefs that we start how do you then view money? And then you have this partner, you're coming from two different places. You're more English medium. When I don't go English medium, you're not government. So because you have no problem with giving one 5 $. The other one is still let's say the husband, the one, let's say he's making more money, he can actually afford certain things. We can actually afford to just part ka 10 pula, go neela motho mo seterateng kana go mo rekela lofo. So what kind of beliefs would you say we then start to have, looking at in our different spaces? Maybe let's talk a little bit about the beliefs that we start having.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. So you find that when we repeatedly witness something, when we repeatedly hear something, it gets to a point where now it's true. And it's more like it's fulfilling itself. Hence, now it becomes a belief that, indeed, it's true. I love the fact that you and I have shared different experiences, because I'm going to just highlight now some of the beliefs that could possibly come up from my experiences or someone who's had your own experiences, right? You'll find that if for me, I witnessed so much frustration about money and noticing that, money sometimes tends to be here today, tomorrow not be there. A belief I can have that will still be reaffirmed by this pandemic and financial stress would be that madi kana ga nke a nna teng, nna ke itse madi a se ka lekana, where you find that the pandemic is now reaffirming, or the events of the pandemic tend to make me feel like this belief that I carry, that madi ga nke a nna teng, indeed ke simolla go bona gore ke a panic around money, like or I start worrying that why? Because there is an internalized belief that I have around money, because I witnessed something over and over again and it became true. For your experience, where I love the experience you give, where like I'm in school, I have everything, my parents have done their best to support me, but I noticed that other students are looking at me at a certain way, because this and that, or you will realize that then your belief may be that money, when you have money or wealth, you are going to have to hide it, because people sometimes will attack you or resent you because of the valuables you have. This is something that people even today have, go through, where sometimes you are afraid to be seen or to be visible as someone who's financially successful, right? Where for you, because the pandemic is going on, a lot of people, or the collective, is experiencing financial stress. Maybe when that's not your experience, maybe you were fortunate enough to make different decisions, or you were able to become aware earlier in life, and so resource, you to build your wealth. And now the challenge becomes that I get a lot of judgment from people, because now I'm not having that same experience. So this is the belief that will inform a lot of being invisible around, like being seen as the one who has money. It's still a belief, and it's still informed by your own past money experiences. It's still informed by the unprocessed issues that we had around our money experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Because I especially when we're children, it's quite interesting. And I think what it then does is that I think maybe let's just quickly, since we're still here, how do you think now it affects us when we get into partnerships? And work on ourselves in our individual spaces before we meet our partners. What potentially happens to our relationships when we're coming from different backgrounds? backgrounds, and we view money differently. And here we are, yeah, no, we're gonna into a relationship. Yeah, long gore ya no ga re dumalane gongwe ka dilo ha yo mongwe ena ha batle bana ba tsena di-English medium, yo mongwe don ya tsona medium e siame hela tswa yala mo di-English medium. Now we grew up okay, go tswa mo di-Tswana medium, nothing happened. Here we are successful. Share a little bit on that.
Yeah. I love how you're so relatable. Like, that's exactly what is currently happening. Those are the type of arguments people have around money, and they feel very, very real to both parties, where two people feel like, so here's something that I feel like we are going to really have to understand.
Yeah.
Marrying someone, you are not just marrying the individual. We are going to have to really understand that the reason why Lili Nyalo Hela brings the family involved, you are also marrying the family patterns.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that. I like that. You're not just marrying the individual. Understand that there are family patterns that exist that you need to understand and really get to know your person. 100%.
Yes. When you marry someone in a relationship, always, sometimes the expressions or the views of your partner around money, sometimes it's the father talking, sometimes it's the mother talking. And honestly, we bring so much compassion to this issue, because sometimes even your partner may not even be aware when you believe in something, because now that's how you were programmed. It's a reality for you, So you'll find that when a partner says that, and I don't believe I believe when we spend on things that bring pleasure to us, another partner will feel like this is pleasure. We're supposed to enjoy our money. A partner who has a background of scarcity, and to them, it may feel like we're wasting money, right? So we have to, in communication or in trying to resolve these issues, sometimes ask your partner, or I wish this for a lot of people, to start having conscious conversations where we are able to talk about what connects you to that truth, or what is the thing that maybe you witnessed, or what is the thing that makes you believe that when you are using your money for pleasure, it's a waste, and really hold space for each other. There's where also we are having an opportunity here in this stress to learn, also in partnerships, to learn to hold space for each other's truth, or what feels like that truth, because it may not really be true, to hold space for each other, to say that, why do you feel this, or what is informing your ideas around this, and come from a place of understanding. And then also in that moment, it's important for your partner to be open to questioning if this is actually true. Just because mom and dad did this a certain way, just because your experience was like this, is it really true that indeed we are wasting? What are the fears? It's also important to have conversations around fears around money. What are the fears that you have around money? There are people who will tell you, if I come down below a certain amount, I start getting so anxious, where right?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not just your nervous system, even your body remembers this amount. Probably for you, it reminds you of a certain time in your life where maybe and maybe at that point in time you felt like no one is there for you. There is a lot that comes to play, and so we're going to have to learn to understand that it's actually beyond the individual. It's beyond the individual. However, two individuals can be able to support each other in resolving the issue, the money issue. Emma.
I like what you said there. That is absolutely important. For example, I'll give you an example of myself, my mother and my father. My dad never, ever, my mother was responsible for the family finances. To an extent where my mother, when she passed away, my parents had amassed a lot of wealth. Now, my mother was literally in charge of the finances for laping. My dad didn't know how much my mother, because my father trusted my mother. They had a certain kind of relationship because everything was about the children. And that's why I'm such a stickler for what you call this. I'm a stickler for family and really having conversations around these kind of issues and topics.
Yeah.
And my mother literally built wealth for our family. Now imagine, I meet someone today. Ragwe was responsible maybe for the finances. Ma nasa bereki. Ma nasana a business. So this partner of mine, we care about each other. We want to take our relationship to the next level. And then I then suggest, because of what I have learned, let's say, from my parents, I suggest, maybe and he feels somehow, some way, I'm prying too much. Maybe a woman should not. Looking at his past experiences. And I like how you say that we need to start having realistic conversations about it all and hold space for each other and really be open to questioning because I don't particularly think you can build wealth if both of you haven't healed or do not trust each other or do not see each other. And this is why we need to be visiting somebody like you as a couple to have real conversations about madi. Gore ra reng ka madi, ra go ira yang ka madi, re batla gore madi a ye kae, re batla go hella re bona madi a re diretseng, re batla gore madi a, in terms of le bana, a iretse bana eng. So I really love how you've spoken about that. And I think maybe to also, let me give an example, like a story, something that happened in my family that maybe we should also be talking about. Maybe you as a financial expert and somebody who understands this topic a bit more. I think I was about 17 years old. Yeah, I think about form 4, form 5.
All right.
Now, right? And my sister was still at John Mackenzie. So my sister, in primary school, John Mackenzie, which was a private school, right up to form 5. I think my sister na bala bo form 1. I think my sister na bala form 1, na ke bala form 5. Somewhere was standard 7. I can't recall something. But all I do know is what happened was thieves came into our home, and then as she was busy trying to protect bana ba gagwe, which meant that being the right hand, so Jiki about a year later or a year and a half, she goes off and then she gets retrenched from the bank. Luckily, my mother had a business on the side and it was flourishing and it was doing well. So this was communicating to me. It communicated to me that on the side, because and I think what that did to me was that it really created a sense of fear, because when I started my business, when I left corporate, initially I realized after doing the internal work years later, business, personal training from a place of fear ke sa bate gore ka moso ha ke ka kubiwa ko corporate ko ira yang wa bona.
Yeah.
And today, as I run my business, I can honestly say it's coming from a place of serious passion and me being within purpose, where initially the business came from a place of scarcity of lack. Maybe talk a little bit about those kind of experiences. Why do we then do that? Ra saver from a place of lack. We're not saving it. Yeah.
You know, a big thing that we really need to start realizing, money will always match the frequency of whatever it is, of your programming, the frequency of your internal frequency of your belief system. Absolutely. Exactly. And I love your story in as much as, yes, you started a business out of lack. There's where also I'm appreciating that for you, it's like you also had this internalized belief system that I get what I want. Also, because I didn't know, you know, I get to have the things that I want, I can achieve them. Money is possible. Money is something that is familiar for me. You know, seeing mom make money means that I also can make money. You know, we take these things for granted, but honestly speaking, every experience that you're having with money, you know, your ability to start a business, your confidence to go out there and sell something, your ability to trust your business ideas, it's always about, it's always reflecting so much of what has been internalized within you. And a big thing around money that we need to understand is safety. I always tell people, I help you heal your soul trauma so that you can feel safe to create wealth. Why? Because a lot of our unprocessed issues and a lot of our unprocessed trauma is linked to our ability to feel safe in any environment, right? Just even with like a couple in a relationship, when they feel safe, right? Not so much that they trust each other, although it contributes, but when there is safety to express, you know, to express emotions or to express whatever worries around finances, then it is easier to maneuver through that. When you feel safe right now to trust your ideas that come up and to implement them, you will eventually change how you experience money. When you feel safe to, you know, to talk about the things that you love, when you feel safe to really talk about what you do and sell yourself, you will be able to change your money experiences. I always look at issues of money from a place of safety. Like, what is happening internally? What is happening within you? Do you feel safe enough to move beyond some of your triggers, or to question your own programming or your own belief systems, right? I have interacted with someone who had a grandfather who was working mining, and so it so happened that most of the time he had to be away, right? And this is someone who also, in their upbringing, both parents had to work in like out of town, and would often only get to see their family twice a month or sometimes once a month. And by the time I was having a conversation with this person, what they were experiencing with their money was that the partner, in this pandemic that we're going through, that partner now had the opportunity to increase their income, but this meant that they get to work away from home. And one of the things that I had to bring to awareness to this individual was that, you know what, for you, your experiences around money, they're also highlighting, or they're bringing up issues of abandonment, right? Although it may not have felt like it's abandonment when someone leaves you to go make money because they're still coming back to take care of you, it still feels like there is where you find yourself being pulled in experiences where, in order for money to be present or to be available, there is where, you know, one member of the family has to leave, and it's showing as a pattern that keeps repeating itself. So it's creating abandonment issues on top of everything else. So your issues around, you know, like this experience are deeper than just, it's, you know, like money. They're also reflecting unsafety for you, because now there is where the younger self who experienced parents being aware is being triggered to say that now I feel like even my own partner is abandoning me. So I like to say every experience that you go through, you know, including even your own experience, there is where we can explore the issue of safety around it. The issue of safety around, is it safe for a woman to make money? And also when we make money and then thieves are attacking us, what does this mean around my wealth? If I become Agatha the millionaire, am I still safe? You know, there is so much that comes into play. So I always feel like, when we talk about this, that, you know, this pandemic that we're going through, it's a repetition of cycles we've been through, but also it's like it's bringing us into awareness some of those issues that are so multi-layered, and we have not processed them. So I do see an opportunity for us to process our issues, especially if you invest in yourself and say that, you know what, you know, or I'd like a different experience, you know.
Yeah. I like what you've said there. You know, I think what I'm really picking up a lot from what you're saying is that let us not undermine our childhood experiences and where we come from. Hore, a lot of the decision making, kama di ya rona, le the way we view money, this one is stress experience and say, is deep rooted in us. Mo bonyenyaneng, le gore re bone go iragala eng re ntse re gola. And this is something that I'm very passionate about. Where always my clients give a like, you know, your subconscious mind is the one that is actually directing you. And this is, excuse me, this is one of the reasons why you got to work on yourself and really try to figure out what's going on, because you're an individual and there are certain things that you need to heal. Because if you don't look at dilo sentle, kana gompieno yana o ta bona anong re simolola re re it's tight, re hella re sa duele batho, re kolota batho, re hella because of the scarcity mindset that we have. Re lebala gape, or not re lebala, but re sa tlhaloganya gape gore ha o ntse o ntsha o ipulela kgoro gore o kgone go tsena wa bona. So le yone this thing ya gore we're tightening up, it's actually also to some extent working against you, because my dear bereka ka flow kana lo wa bona gore le wena ha kae, as you said earlier on when you first came in, ore madi ke mowa kana. And that's something that we don't understand. But I think let's move on a little bit because we're running a bit out of, well, we've still got about 30 minutes to go. Where I'd like for us to have a little conversation around how can I identify I'm going through financial stress? How do I notice this?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll talk about the financial and both the non-financial, because some of the signs will actually not be obvious, because sometimes the things will not be directly linked to money. But when we talk about the financial aspect of things, where you get to, I would say, get to notice how you're going through financial stress. One of the exercises that I always implement with my clients, I always ask them, go look at your bank account and study. It's always telling you a story. And you'll find that when right now, if you are to realize right now in your bank account, madi hela ha tsena, study the amount of time it takes before the first transaction is out, right? Some people, it's actually minutes. Literally. There's so much going on, like so much to pay. A lot of times that reflects the anxiety that you're going through, or it can reflect a lot of overwhelm. So if you are under financial stress, you're going to find that a lot of times money doesn't stay in your bank account for longer. It's like the minute money reports into your bank account, already it goes out, right? It's important to also notice that, for example, if your income comes once a month, right? How long does it get to last in your bank account, right? For how long do you get to feel secure and know that I have reserved amounts of money in my bank account? Like, usually, in as much as sometimes we can say that, oh, my salary is meant to be for 30 days. Sometimes it can literally last up to 3 days, right? This is something I went through myself, right? And at that time, I couldn't have said I'm going through financial stress because I felt like, oh, I'm being so responsible. But later on, when I got to understand money, I got to realize that, oh my God, there is where I actually don't trust that my money is going to be around. There's where I don't trust that.
Share that. No, I'm sorry. Can you just share that experience with us? What were you doing?
So what would happen would be that every time, Hela, as soon as I get my salary, I start transacting. And at that point in time, I thought I'm being responsible. I'm paying everything before like I wasn't, for me, it didn't even reflect wasting. Like, it wasn't like I'm paying unnecessary things. I felt like I'm being responsible. And within 3 days, all my money will be gone. And so when I started processing or understanding money deeply, I connected it to trauma that I had around money not being around or disappearing. And this is because I had an experience where my dad, at some point in time, he got retrenched. And so it's like a wave just came, because we were people by Lengkore. We could go out, we could enjoy, food. We used to get stuff, although there wasn't a lot of money. There is where we really did enjoy and had our fair share of a beautiful childhood experience. So it's like when my dad went through what I now see as financial trauma, which is retrenchment, right? This is something that other people are going through in this pandemic. It's like a wave just came through, and now all of a sudden, money had disappeared, right? And so now for me, I got to realize that being the adult that I am, when money hits my account, I immediately start paying stuff. And this is because there is a backstory or an internalized story that money is going to disappear. So it was like, for me, I'm playing a game where it's like, I better get rid of it before it gets rid of me, before it disappears on me, right? So that's a sign of financial stress, where it's like you're not comfortable with money being in your bank account for whatever reason. Probably you don't feel safe that it will be there tomorrow, right? Probably you're having anxious thoughts. Is money going to be there? So how long does money get to be in your bank account? How long does it take before you transact? And also, if you look at the ratio of like money coming in and then money going out, does it really make sense to be like having one transaction and then of money coming in, and then you have over 30 transactions of money coming out? This is the reality of what really is happening, right? Another thing is whereby you genuinely cannot trust your financial decisions.
Yeah.
A lot, we always speak a lot about a pain body that we have is sometimes but it's important to also talk about from our programming. So you'll find that sometimes, even in your finances, it can be really difficult for you to make a simple decision, or what to someone else may be a simple decision. For you, it feels really difficult. Una super stressed, or you avoid having to like having to make that decision, and so sometimes it will force you to like freeze, not take any action around your money. I see it as another way of being financially stressed, where you can't trust your ideas, where first you can't trust your ideas to increase your money, where sometimes you notice, or you know what, kind of my income it has been stuck in the same level for the longest time, and I see this, but I'm not, and I keep having ideas. Maybe curious, maybe I should do something. Maybe but you're not making any decision. Indecision is also a form of financial stress. In fact, it's the biggest because it keeps us really financial stagnant. Remote pandemic, but it still feels like you are in denial, or there's a part of you that knows that if I was to face the reality of what is happening with my finances, I don't know if I can move through that. And that is understandable, because not a lot of us are able to process our issues. Hence why we have women like me, women like Agatha, to process our issues with. Right? Now, other ways that you'll find that you are in financial stress, these ones may not directly be linked to your money, but if you find that there is where now your sleeping patterns change, you struggle to sleep because you're overwhelmed, there's so much to think about, so much to do, because financial situation has changed, you find that I can't sleep. Sometimes you can't sleep, but you're not really aware of why you can't sleep, right? It could be another form of financial stress. You want to look into that. It can also be, am I still audible?
Yes, you are.
It looks like my battery is gonna run out, but I'll chat. And also another issue can be, sleeping patterns change. Eating disorder is a form of financial stress. There is a big one that has really hit a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, where withdrawal from people, where now you want to spend so much time alone, right? One, we also have to acknowledge that this pandemic did bring up a lot of issues around Black tax as well. Some of our family members, when their finances changed, they started needing more help. Some relationships became even more challenging. Disagreement with your partner because income or there's a lot of adjustments that need to take place. So when you find yourself withdrawing from people, even when you think your reasons are about, I don't want negative energy. That's true. That can happen. But it can also be your way of really not, or thinking you're coping with financial stress. Withdraw from people, because there's also where sometimes there's so much shame around, what is currently happening with your finances, where the reality makes you feel like it's okay. I feel like I'm the only one who's going through this. I feel like there is an impression that I gave people, and I can no longer meet that standard. So that shame makes you now get into a corner and not want to associate with people. Isolate yourself. Self-isolation is also big, Hello? Hi, am I still audible?
That sorry, I think we got disconnected for a second. Sorry about that. Yes. I mean, we were just chatting as you were explaining the financial stress, how we then, it's very interesting that you should say that, because what I've realized is, because of our inability to recognize and be taught from a young age that we are not money, there's who we are and what we are, and that money does not define us. We tend to go through depression and anxiety whenever my dear say yo, and then we end up retrieving. I mean, look at what's happening so far. A lot of the people by Facebook, a lot of them banyeletse, Because now you can no longer afford a bottle of Moet for like $1,000 or champagne or whatever, or whatever it is, whatever it is that you drink, that you were drinking, and
Yeah.
it's very interesting how people define themselves. Kamadi. Listen, money is important. We all know that. It is the currency that we use to get so many things, what we like, and all sorts. But it gets very disturbing when we think that Kurmadi are define. Maybe just tell us a little bit about that, Nonofang, and what's your take on that? Because that's what I've noticed in my space as a wellness coach, as somebody who helps people to become more conscious about who they are and going on a journey of personal development and growth and recognizing who we tota and becoming authentic. What is this thing of us thinking we are the money that we make instead of the individuals? What have you seen in your space as somebody who deals with batho le ka go ba ruta ka madi?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This is profound, and I'm in so much agreement with you. I always say that, this concept of more money, more problems, where it's like money has created a lot of chaos for us. I always say it's because there is where human beings, this concept, we have to realize that it speaks so much about our disconnection from divinity.
Yeah.
Because honestly speaking, what I truly believe is that human beings, especially us as soul beings, Agatha, we truly are here for deeper fulfillment, right?
Exactly.
For deeper fulfillment. And or what other people even call the fruits of the Holy Spirit, which is like love. We want love. We want pleasure. We want inner peace. We want freedom to see ourselves experiencing things that are mostly about our own free will. We really want to participate in the experiences of our lives. And so, the truth is, where we are now and the way the world operates, we do hire money to sponsor some of those things. However, if you find yourself believing that money is going to give you access to them, where you don't realize that actually they were always available for me even before the money. However, I can just use money to maybe like elevate them or expand them. But money was like, it was never about money in the first place. That's where we missed the point, right? So for me, I believe that when you find yourself thinking that money is going to give me love, money is going to give me access to power, respect, like relationships that where people like me, it's an illusion. It's not based on truth. However, when you know that you are really here for beautiful experiences, for mostly even your purpose more than anything, and you require money to just be in support of those experiences that you know you are worthy of creating, then you are in your divine truth, right? This is why I definitely always believe that truly it's about you, what you want. And also, wealth means different things to different people. It means different things to different people. Another person right now may require or may desire to create an income of 100,000 and literally just be okay with it. As long as I can provide for my family, I want to just have this divine love with my partner, this and that. Another partner deeply desires to make sense. But for me, it's about the motivation behind that should be based on what is in your core truth. If it's based on these illusions where you think, oh, it means that when I have money, certain things then can start being accessible to me, then you are going to literally create more problems with money. You look at the template of the typical template that we have, Mobotswana, when you look at people, our definition of success. And if we're being truthful, there is where young people right now feel like if I have money, ke ka nnang le relationship, you know, we chase that. We also feel like it's a big factor in terms of our relationship, but we don't even realize actually money and wealth, in order to truly have that, there is where you are going to pursue self-mastery first, especially if you want to have genuine things and genuine experiences in your life. Pursue self-mastery first. Self-mastery meaning that you address any wounds that you have, any triggers you have, because now I always look at it as people who do not deal with that deeper issues, or that who do not heal that issues, when they have money, that is when actually you are going to see some of those deep issues coming into play. You get less money, more money, more problems. If right now, right now on a deep wound, wait till another bonus. You will see the reflection of what the self-worth of that person. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
You know? If we're in a relationship, and this is the type of relationship we've been keeping a facade. My partner conversation freedom when money is introduced or when there's lack of money. It's either or 3 days later. These are issues that were always pre-existing, but we created an illusion because money was sort of like distracting us. Like, I love money, but more than anything, I truly always believe that we are here for more than that, which is for your soul, for your core truth, and to master your divine self. Yeah. So really, that's my view.
Okay. No, I like it. I absolutely love it. I like how you said, you know, I always say to Batswana, because we've gone on our own personal journeys, we it's as if we've got a third eye. It's as if it's as if so you already can see, even when the client comes, the way they already give themselves away, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at that moment you are in a session, it's private, it's confidential. But you already know because and I like how you said that before you can make money, I think can make money where Batswana are right now in terms of their emotional architecture, in terms of their level of consciousness, they cannot make money. They can't, because because of where we are coming from, the trauma, how we view ourselves, our self-concept, our sense of agency. Facebook we kgona go nna busy hela go buiwa ka 82 million. And all sorts. And people will make jokes and memes with the you know, women will say things like you know, people don't recognize that in as much as they think they're joking, they mean these things, and it shows. And it's actually quite tragic where Motswana sees himself. Like the example that you gave earlier on, And this is so tragic because what's happening now is that you'll find people in corporate, you'll find people in marriages, you'll find people in businesses, you'll find people ba abuse batho ba bangwe because ba kile ba nyadiwa ba santse ba sena madi.
Yeah.
Wa bona? Because
Absolutely.
and this is very disheartening because this is why re hella re sulahaletsa batho ba bangwe matshelo. And one of the reasons why Botswana doesn't work, nothing seems to be working here, is because motho wa montsho ga a tlhaloganye, Motswana ga a tlhaloganye gore this economy is not going anywhere. Ha batho ba sa itebelle sentle, ha re sa godise bana sentle, ha re sa nne le bana rona re ipaakantse re na le self mastery gore re rute bana sentle ka madi, we're not going anywhere. You know, so I really like what you said. But just to finish it off, we've got about 5 minutes, Nonofan, before we invite people to actually ask questions and come on the platform. What are the things that we can do in order to ameliorate, so to speak, this financial stress? What are the things they leng gore re ka di dira? You know, that what are the ways or some of the things that can help us navigate this financial stress? Maybe you can just share a little bit on that.
Yeah. Yes. I'll touch on this, but I can say that we can expect more an expanded version tomorrow, since this is a 2-day workshop, right? I think at the highest level, it's important to recognize that everything that you go through as a challenge, including money, you also carry its medicine, right? You also carry the medicine. So I truly believe that you, the person who is experiencing money the way you're experiencing, or whatever issues you have, you also are the person who carries the solution. It's important for this to really dwell on us, that every challenge that you experience, you also carry the medicine. Now, the important thing here then is then to recognize that what is the connection that you need to see within your money experiences? What is the connection? I believe that if, in as much as right now we may be going through financial stress, going through this pandemic, our money is always reflecting patterns. And the one who's able to notice these patterns, even if you don't have full information of what could be informing them, because maybe then you would need, like a professional like me. But if you are able to notice that I keep having this same experience, for example, I keep finding that, money runs out whenever, like, in as much as I'm making money, I still feel like I'm on survival mode. Or I have noticed that for a very long time, my money has not significantly changed, right? Or I'm starting to realize that actually the pattern that I'm seeing here is that I need to be making another form of income, right? One income has clearly proven to me over the years, because I'm in a financial cycle and I'm in financial stress, and it's not changing. Maybe I need to be making another income. So for me, it's like awareness is huge. As a way of navigating our financial stress, awareness is huge. It's time to notice the connection in like your experiences. What is the pattern that keeps replaying? Because in you realizing this pattern, when you become aware, then now we can arrive to what is the thing that I now have to do differently, right? Because honestly, there is where we're going to realize that nothing will change until you make a different decision, or some level of decision, right? And yes, it's important to pray about our finances. It's important to visualize. but action is also important. Like for someone else, it may mean I need
100%.
to be adjusting, right? The reason why I say different
Yeah.
medicine for different individuals. Another person right now, you need to be now facing your financial reality and seeing how you can adjust. Maybe temporarily, some of the things that you could afford right now, you can put them on hold and manage your finances in a way that will allow you to be financially relieved. For another person, now it's time to have conversations with your family around the fact that maybe a new house to so there are different messages that I feel like are coming through us having this experience. Let's not just look at this from a victim mindset, because we can allow money to victimize us, and it does happen, right? Where it's like issues of money keep happening to you, or you can decide to take control or to empower yourself by saying that, what is the thing that now I'm being given an opportunity to see, or I'm being given an opportunity to shift or to change, right? What is it that I need to realize is not working for me, or what is the thing that now I realize has been working for me, and push through that. But above all things, it's important to not panic. Like, let's not make decisions in panic state, right? Because some of the things I've seen is like where we panic has led to some people selling stuff rapidly or making hasty decisions, right? So this is where now the importance of now regulating your nervous system comes into play. It's important to go within, like we've been saying, that let's go within. Let's connect with ourselves. Follow your intuition. I believe that each and every one of us has that wisdom. Tap into that wisdom. Right? And see, what is your core truth? What is your core truth? Right now you say what you need to be doing. What is the thing that you need to be looking into? Yes.
No, definitely. Babe, thank you so much. This has just been so insightful. And I think what we want to do now, before we actually end the session, is just to allow those who are here to just ask a couple of questions, and then we'll be able to just round up and wait for day 2, which is tomorrow, which I'm still excited about, because I personally, listening to you, I'm just like, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, there is no truth and I like what you said earlier on. I always say, Einstein, I think it's Einstein who said it better, doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result is absolute insanity. So you cannot be living the way that you are just living. You have to make decisions. You have to get yourself a financial coach. You have to get yourself versed in these kind of professions. And Batswana need to learn that they have to pay. I think that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem with us. We do not value these kind of services. But these are the very services they don't and allow you to see better so that you can actually change your life. Otherwise, you are just going to be stuck where you are. Better start now, working and really doing what you can do, so that in the next couple of years, you are ready. You are well positioned, you're well aligned, and you will start to see the fruit. Because a lot of these things you can't do them on your own. And I think that's what people think. But I think that they can, a significant number of them, they think they can just figure it out on their own when they don't have the tools. It's a new world order completely. As an individual and know who you are and really heal a lot of things inside of you. To and I think this is one of the things that people really need to understand about prosperity. That is not just a matter of praying and fasting. So
Amen.
anybody,
You powerful. I love it. I know that I must
yeah, not mamkundis.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anybody who, those of you who are watching right now, you are more than welcome to jump on board and just ask a couple of questions. My PA is here to allow you in and just get the tools,
Mm.
ask the questions that you want to ask. We're here to answer. Nono Fang is here to answer. And I think, it's really, really interesting how, finances, when you first started, I was just like, kana tota kgomo ke mowa hela. Wa bona? Ke mowa. How sa ipatisisa sentle wa ipula. Ha o ka ke go antle go iragala le ha e le sepe. So, ladies and gents, please jump on board. If you want to ask a question, the floor is yours. So I think let's just wait for 5 minutes, Nonofang, and if there's nobody coming in on board, and I think we can just sum it up and just be out of here and then link up again tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's really been dope. I've just had a great time, and your work is just amazing, baby. I'm just so proud of you, and
Thank you so
just
much.
love what you're doing, Yeah. Lisady, is there anybody there who'd like to jump on board to ask a question? I think we're just gonna wait on one or two people. And then after that, we'll be out of here. At the holiday, somebody asked me what right now where I'm at, I do not have the luxury of going all over the place. I'm trying to get my money right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kana ke kganyene ke bua last ke re kana 9 my 40s ke akantse go save madi le gore ke a go hitsa yang ke mang. I'm thinking about where my money will be when I'm 50 and 60, ha go sa thola go na le nako ya go tshameka.
Happy waiting for yourself.
Okay.
Can you create your own holidays now?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get
absolutely.
to the channel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see anybody wanting to join in. So I think let's just sum it up and finish it off and continue tomorrow. So Donofang, thank you so much for coming. And we've really been enlightened. There's a lot that I'm taking away as well on day one. And I would like for you to just close it up and just anything that you want to say to the people who are on the platform. Just go ahead, babe. Any last words? Let us know what you think, and let us taranye mo wena.
Okay. Wow, I feel like I've said a lot, though. I feel like I've said a lot. But in summary, I would just like to really encourage everyone to say that, you know what? Maybe you get to be the person, not even maybe, it's you. Anything that you want to change in your life with your money, any pattern that is reflected through you, I want you to really trust that it also means that you carry that medicine. This is why I have my program. I call it money medicine. My work is money medicine work, because I believe that although we are pursuing money, more than anything, we are pursuing and also accessing the medicine for our souls, for our soul traumas, for the pains that repeatedly we have gone through or that we keep experiencing, and some of them deeply being triggered by money. Like how many of us have been have had our families being separated, and we thought, oh, it's because of money. Compromising ourselves to be in relationships where we know deeply that I am not loved or I'm not chosen because you think money. There's where you are going to have to truly trust yourself. And if you have if you have a dream of like deeply building wealth, I want you to understand that it's going to encompass a lot of issues. It encompasses your spirituality to come into play. Spiritual issues are also coming into play when it comes to your money. Your mental wellness will need to be a priority. Your emotional body, literally your physical body, another part of your body that is called your emotional body. And there's that repairing, that soothing, that healing that needs to take place. All these aspects or these facets, when you address them and heal them and nurse them and nurture them, organically you will see the impact of that in the way you show up in terms of like how you building wealth. It will impact your financial decisions. It will help you get clear on what you truly want. Most of us are not afraid of financial failure. We're actually afraid of financial success because of the traumas that we've been through. So when you heal, you give yourself an opportunity to say that, who am I without the trauma? Who am I without my parents' voice, the community's voices? What is my truth? And who do I get to be? And what is the wealth that I can pursue if I'm not limited by belief systems that some of them are not mine? I really want you to trust yourself. And I really encourage you to invest in yourself. Like Agatha was saying, it's so important that even when we have this conversation, you need to understand that there is action that you get to take. For you to be able to comprehend some of the things that I highlighted today, it will actually take one-on-one private sessions for us to explore, to go deeper, to do healing work, for you to now start questioning a lot of things that you have not been questioning, or facing the reality of things that you have not been facing. And really in the midst of that, accessing your deeper strength and trusting that you, your divine self, get to create any form of life that you love, that you desire, that you want. And behind all this, God loves you. God wants beautiful things for you. Throughout this pandemic, I really send everyone beautiful, beautiful healing energies. So whatever you may be going through, whatever that is being triggered by this pandemic, I pray that you move through it, that you get through it, that more than anything, you find the medicine, the strength for the things that right now may feel like, they are overwhelming you. So, and thank you so much, Agatha. You are so amazing to have opened up this platform. Ika Mutswana is big. For you to have opened up this platform for me to come be here with you, honestly, it means a lot. Thank you so much.
It means a lot to me that you're here, baby. And just share your details so that people know where to contact you.
Yes. Please do visit Nunofang Lekau. I am Nunofang Lekau on my Facebook page, Nunofang Lekau on my Instagram page. As soon as you visit my page, contact us. You can click contact us with a link, or even if it's Instagram, a bio link where you have access to my calendar to book a session. You can either book one-on-one session, or you can read further about my 16-week program, which is called Sacred Abundance Mastermind. My 16 weeks program about money medicine work. You can read further on it and get to apply so that you and I can work together, so that you and I can take you to the next level and truly transform you into the person that you were always meant to be. So yes,
and your cell number, your business number, the work number.
My work number is 76049 413. 76049 413.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's 76049 413. Amazing. So you can get a hold of Nunofang there. Yeah. And thank you so much, darling, for making the time. And I've personally enjoyed myself. I hope everybody who came today to listen to you speak, I hope they enjoyed themselves and they have taken something that can actually help them as they continue on their journey. We're all in our individual spaces, guys. Listen, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. Yes. And this is one of the reasons why it's important to be on this platform. go e bua hela dilo tse di tla le thusa bagaetsho, dilo tse di tla le thusa le ska la nyatsa dilo, and just be the best version of yourself. I pray for good things for everyone, abundance, prosperity. I pray that God heals all of us, and he gives us our heart's desires according to his purposes and his mercy and his grace and all of the good things. From me, Agatha Atlholang, from Ikare Motswana, let me call it a night, and thank you for being here, and have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Absolutely amazing. Let's call it a night.
Great.